People get offended when they mistake the subject of a joke with the actual target.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily the same thing. You can make jokes about any subject. It depends what the joke is.
Yeah.
There's no rules. You can't joke about this. You can.
You should be able to.
You just can.
Yeah.
Okay?
Lately, we've been hearing a lot about the new gender debates. Some people think it's perfectly fine to say, why shouldn't a trans woman use the same bathrooms as cis women? After all, they are women, right? You can see it in their pronouns. But the conversation gets heated when others challenge that, and it's easy to see how quickly things spiral out of control. People get called bigots for simply questioning the new norms. But Ricky Gervais, ever the provocateur, doesn't shy away from the tough topics. He dives right into the gender debate with no filter.
A lot of time you are politically incorrect and hilarious, of course.
Thank you.
And so,
Thank you.
so this is,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right. You know, it's offence is about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? You know, so you can't second guess people. If you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues, and sometimes you deal in irony, and some people don't get that. But, you know, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing. So
He's not holding anyone's hand in the process. He's got a knack for exposing the contradictions and absurdities of the woke culture, pointing out when things just don't fit, like trying to shove a square peg into a round hole. No amount of yelling bigot is going to change that. Ricky's brutal humor takes no prisoners, but it's often the hard truth, and sometimes the truth is painful and hilarious. Take his take on influencers, for example. The idea that someone hawking detox teas and hair gummies on Instagram could be a moral authority. Ricky's not buying it. He mocks the absurdity of a world where the person with the most followers gets to dictate how we should live, as if having a large social media following makes someone an expert on life. And if they don't like the way things are, well, there's always the option to leave the country. When it comes to the big controversies, Gervais never backs down. Like the time he made a joke about Caitlyn.
people say, that joke was offensive. I gotta say, no, you've got to say, you found it offensive. Because it's all about feelings, and feelings are personal. And there's loads of types of comedy, and comedy evolves, you know. There's a new type of comedy at the moment called woke comedy, right? No, it's very progressive, you know. There are some clubs now where the comedian has to sign a thing saying he won't say anything contentious, or he won't say anything that could offend anyone. It's a safe space for the audience. Woke comedy. And I tried to watch a bit of it, and I decided I'd rather watch Louis C.K. masturbate.
The next day, Twitter exploded with outrage. Well, a couple of people were outraged, to be more precise. The backlash was swift, but as Gervais put it, I didn't have to worry about offending anyone. It just happens. Ricky Gervais stood by his controversial joke, saying it wasn't transphobic in the slightest. It was a joke about a trans person, yes, but the punchline had nothing to do with her being trans. It was about the situation. And this is where people often miss the point. They confuse the subject of a joke with its actual target. And those two things aren't always...
Not all women. I mean the old-fashioned ones. You know, the old-fashioned women. Oh, God. You know, the ones with wombs. Oh. Those fucking dinosaurs. Oh. No, I love the new women. I know the new women. They're great, aren't they? You know, the new ones we've been seeing lately. The ones with beards and cocks. They're as good as gold. I love them. No, it's the old-fashioned. And now the old-fashioned, they go, oh, they want to use our toilets. Why shouldn't they use your toilets? For ladies. They are ladies. Look at their pronouns. What about this person that isn't a lady? Well, his her you fucking bigot. What if he rapes me? What if she rapes you? You fucking turf whore.
Let's have a look at Ricky Gervais.
Hi guys, Ricky G here, wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, it's like a hate crime. or makes me sad and angry. And
Make his point, Ricky shared the joke with his audience.
So, it's live.
They announced me as the host of the 68th Annual Golden Globe Awards. The crowd's clapping, the actors are nervously smiling up at me. It's brilliant. Then I say, relax, I'm going to be nice tonight. I've changed. Not as much as Bruce Jenner, obviously. The room goes silent. Now, Caitlyn Jenner, he continues, and what a year she's had. She became a role model for trans people everywhere, bravely breaking down barriers and destroying stereotypes. But she didn't do much for women drivers. Now, here's why that joke works. It's a layered joke, and it's about stereotypes. He started by calling her a real woman, which sounds progressive, but then he flipped the script with an old, reactionary stereotype: bad women drivers. The target wasn't Caitlyn Jenner's transition, but rather the idea.
And the big controversy last time I did it was a Caitlyn Jenner joke, right? Oh, outrage on Twitter the next day. And by outrage, I mean a couple of people going, it was transphobic. It wasn't transphobic in the slightest. It was a joke about a trans person, but the joke had nothing to do with that aspect of her existence. And that's the other thing about offence. People get offended when they mistake the subject of a joke with the actual target, and they're not necessarily the same. I'll tell you the joke. You make your own minds up. Right. So, it's live, so they go, and now your host for the 68th Annual Golden Globe Awards, please welcome Ricky Gervais. They go, and they're all clapping, all the actors are looking up, smiling at me nervously. It's brilliant, right? So I just go, relax, I'm going to be nice tonight. I've changed. Not as much as Bruce Jenner. And I go, now Caitlyn Jenner, of course, and what a year she's had. Became a role model for trans people everywhere, bravely breaking down barriers and destroying stereotypes. She didn't do a lot for women drivers. So, that's a clever joke, and I'll tell you why, right? It's layered. No, listen, right? The subject of that joke is stereotypes. I'm playing with the notion of stereotypes, right? So I start off saying she's a real woman. Some would say a liberal, progressive attitude. Then I go, oh, if she's a real woman, I hit them with the old-fashioned reactionary stereotype. She must be a bad driver then, right? And the target of the joke is a celebrity killing someone in their car. Let's not forget that, shall we? A celebrity killing someone in their car, running home and popping on a dress. That's the target of the joke, just so we're clear, okay? She was interviewed about a week later at some press conference for a show she was launching, now cancelled. And the press were around and one of them said, what do you think of the Ricky Gervais joke? And she went, maybe I should host the Golden Globes, right? And they tweeted that and they atted me in because they want a celebrity feud. You know, it was clickbait. So I rose to the bait, obviously. I just sent back, let her host, just don't let her drive. Another website that was in the room, Entertainment Weekly, they tweeted a different headline and they atted me in as well. And their headline was, Caitlyn finally breaks silence over Ricky Gervais. I just sent back, at last. She always breaks too late. Bring it on. Bring it on. But I'm a considered comedian. I like my jokes to be accurate and my targets to be fair. So I was engaging these people. I was saying, why is it transphobic? And they were saying, it's about a trans person. I said, well, that's ridiculous. That's like saying a joke about Bill Cosby is automatically racist. It depends on the joke. But I was talking to them, I'm willing to learn, and I found out my crime was that I dead named her. Now, I'd never heard that term, before a day after the Golden Globes, and that was saying her old name, and even acknowledging that she used to be a man. But she did. I saw him on the Olympic Games. It was It was decathlete. It was in everything. He was all over the place. Shot put and pole vault. He won a medal. He was famous. He was on telly all the time. But, you know, a big, famous man with a huge... I don't know, but I mean, I'm guessing he probably... He's a big... But I've learned my lesson. Now, I'd never dead name her now. Now I know it's wrong. I'd never dead name her now. But, like, years ago...
themselves. And just to be clear, Ricky says the real target of the joke is the absurdity of a celebrity being involved in a car accident and then switching their public identity in the blink of an eye. A celebrity killing someone in their car, then running home and popping on a dress. That's the target of the joke, he emphasizes. A week later, Caitlyn Jenner was interviewed at a press conference for a show she was launching, though it was eventually canceled. The press surrounded her, and one reporter asked what she thought of Ricky Gervais's joke. She responded, "Maybe I should host the Golden Globes." Naturally, the media pounced on that, turning it into clickbait and tagging Ricky in the tweet, hoping for a celebrity feud. Of course, Ricky rose to the bait. He fired back, "Let her host. Just don't let her drive." Then, Entertainment Weekly, who had
dubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood foreign press are all very, very racist. So, fifth time. So, we were going to do an in memoriam this year, but when I saw the list of people that had died, it wasn't diverse enough. No. It was mostly white people. And I thought, nah, not on my watch. So, maybe next year. Let's see what happens. Oh, I was salivating. Honestly, I got an adrenaline rush thinking of, you know, what I could say and whether I'd have to go to jail. And I like that opportunity because I do like that, you know, when there's a tension, when there's an elephant in the room, although he wasn't there this year. I do like that because I do like confronting that because I think it takes the audience to a place it hasn't been before. Mm-hmm. And it can be a mutual backslapping, you know, fest, fine, but don't televise it, you know, because I'm not doing it for the 200 egos in the room. I'm doing it for the 200 million people watching around who aren't winning awards, who aren't...
Their headline, Caitlyn finally breaks silence on Ricky Gervais's joke. Ricky replied with a sharp jab. At last, she always breaks too late. But despite the back and forth, Ricky made it clear he's a thoughtful comedian. He doesn't want to just provoke people. He wants to make sure his jokes are accurate and that his targets are fair. So, when people called his joke transphobic, Ricky didn't just dismiss them, he engaged. He asked, "Why is it transphobic?" Some argued it was because the joke was about a trans person, but Ricky quickly shot that down. He compared it to saying a joke about Bill Cosby is automatically racist. It's not about who the joke is about. It's about how the joke is told and the context. Then, Ricky learned a new term, dead naming. He didn't know what it meant at first, but after the Golden Globes, he learned that it's when you use someone's old name or even mention they once lived as a man.
I'm halfway there, to be honest. I'm sort of short with short legs and long arms. I sort of stoop like that. My back's getting hairier by the day. I've got fangs. I love nuts. Oh, I love nuts. And once I was at the zoo and I could tell people were looking at me, so I just started masturbating. So, I am a chimp, right? I am a chimp, if I say I'm a chimp. And so I've got to live as a chimp for a year, then have hormones, get me all nice and hairy. That'd be lovely, right? I'm going to stay a male chimp, so I can keep all that, right? A male heterosexual chimp, keep the same girlfriend. Jane will be happy. She loves me. She loves chimps, so, you know. And I reckon that's got to be easier for a man to turn into a chimp. We're so close. Than for a man to turn into a woman in many ways. You know what I mean? A bit of hair and a top lip like that, as opposed to your cock and balls ripped off and a hole gouged out into... No, I'm not a doctor, but that is the gist of it. I know which one I'd rather have done. And I'm not saying I think chimps are better than women. No way. Right? Any ladies here, right? I can't see you, but to me, every single one of you is equal.